What's up, sisters? It's your boy Beef, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a build that absolutely shines like the sun. We're going to be combining the Circle of the Stars Druid, made available through patch 8, the Way of the Sun Soul Monk, and the Thief Rogue for one of the most fun and flexible multi-class combos that I've played so far in the new patch 8. You'll be casting Sunbeam every single turn. You've got double bonus actions for Flurry of Blows, Radiant Sunbolts, or whatever chaos you want to unleash upon your enemies, all while you're just zipping around the battlefield like a glow stick with hands. Seriously, this build feels like you're channeling pure cosmic energy. It's got great control, fantastic burst damage, it's got movement, and best of all, it's got a lot of style. If you like beaming fools from across the map and then teleporting in to punch them in the soul, you're absolutely going to love this one, and it's entirely possible on console too. So let's go ahead and get straight on into it. For our character's race, I've decided to go with the Astral Elf sub-race provided to us through a mod by Tepkinset. Astral Elves are, well, elves from the astral plane. Let's start with access to Astral Fire, giving them a free cantrip of their choice between either Sacred Flame, Dancing Lights, and the Light Spell. I definitely recommend the light spell here so that we can imbue whatever ranged weapon we have with light, allowing ourselves and our surroundings to be illuminated. As you can see here, I've got my bow currently illuminated and it's shining like the sun. Having this light is going to allow ourselves and our surroundings to be illuminated, which will help us to trigger different pieces of gear that this build is going to use to its advantage. We'll also gain keen senses, giving us proficiency in perception. Starlight Step allows us to use a bonus action and a Starlight Step charge to teleport, just like the Githyanki's Misty Step. We also have Astral Knowledge, very similar to the Githyanki, allowing us to gain proficiency in all skills of a chosen ability until Long Rest, just like the Githyanki. In that same vein, if you're playing on console or don't want to make your character an Astral Elf, then Githyanki are an excellent substitution that is just as thematic as Astral Elves for where this build is going to be going. Starting at level 1, we're going to be taking our first level in the Monk class. The main reason that we want to start here is for early access to unarmored defense, because we're going to be wearing cloth armor for the majority of the game, actually the entirety of the game, so this is really going to help us to add our wisdom modifier to our armor class. We're also going to get early access to Flurry of Blows, as well as Dexterous Attacks, Deft Strikes, and Bonus Unarmed Strike, so that we can go ahead and do a punch on our bonus action, which is basically going to give us the ability to do extra attack at the very early levels of the game. Monks are incredibly powerful in the early game, so getting all of these abilities as soon as possible is key to our early game success. For our character's ability scores, we want to focus primarily on Dexterity and also Wisdom. Dexterity is going to influence our initiative, armor class, and our unarmed attack strength, while Wisdom is going to provide us some bonuses to unarmed attacks, as well as become our spellcasting ability modifier when we start taking Druid levels, and it's also going to affect our armor class through the unarmored defense passive. For those reasons, I've set both of them at an even score of 16, opting for a 14 score in Constitution, a 12 in Charisma for a little bit better dialogue options, and we're going to be dumping our strength and intelligence at even scores of 8. That's all for level 1, so let's go ahead and move right on up to level 2. At level 2, we're actually going to immediately start taking levels of the Druid class, because we want to get access to our Circle of the Stars abilities as soon as physically possible. We're also going to be getting access to 2 cantrips, and I'm going to go with both Shillelagh as well as Moonflare. Moonflare is available through the Mistress Spells mod, and I think that it just makes sense thematically more than anything, because it will allow us to launch a pulse of light at the target. On a critical hit, the target is inflicted with glittering light that grants advantage on attack rolls against them. Alternatively, the flare can be fired at the ground to create a source of bright light over 6 meters. It does radiant damage and just kind of really fills the role thematically with this build. And Shillelagh is here in case you wanted to use a staff instead of your punches for any regular weapon attacks. Guidance would be a great option, but we're also about to get it for free with our subclass as soon as we hit level 3. For our prepared spells, you can go with virtually whatever you want in here. The ones that I generally like to go with are Healing Word, Longstrider, Enhanced Leap, and Speak with Animals. Speak with Animals, Enhanced Leap, and Longstrider are all ritual spells, so we're going to be able to cast them for free outside of combat, and Healing Word just allows us to use a bonus action to heal our enemies, and Healing Word just allows us to use a bonus action to heal either ourselves or our allies, depending on whether we need it or not. At character level 3, we're going to be choosing our Druid subclass, where we're going to pick up the Circle of the Stars Druid. This is going to give us access to 3 unique wild shape options: the Starry Form Archer, Starry Form Chalice, and the Starry Form Dragon. The Archer form allows us to spend a bonus action to cast Luminous Arrows, which are similar to Guiding Bolt Light, a little bit like Moonflare, but on our bonus action. It does really good radiant damage, but we have other options that are a little bit better for us. We also have the Chalice form, which allows us to increase our healing using the Chalice healing bonus, which is nice if we wanted to do more of a support role character. But this character is ultimately a radiant damage dealing attacker, so we're going to go ahead and focus on something else instead, specifically the Starry Form Dragon. This is going to give us access to the Dazzling Breath ability, which we can cast on our bonus action, which is really, really awesome. This does radiant damage in a cone in front of us. There's no resource for this, just bonus actions as long as we're in the Starry Form Dragon. Dragon form will also give us a nice boost to our concentration checks, where the minimum number that we can roll is now a 10. If we roll a 9 or lower, it's considered a 10, which is really fantastic, meaning that we're going to be able to hold concentration on our spells much more easily. The other great thing about the Circle of the Stars Druid is that we'll get access to the Star Map Guiding Bolt. This is going to give us 3 free uses of the Guiding Bolt spell every long rest, which is really fantastic. It's also going to add Guiding Bolt into our spellbook so that in case we run out of our Star Map Guiding Bolts, we can go ahead and just cast it again using spell slots instead, which is really fantastic. Guiding Bolt is a really great spell. At character level 4, we're actually going to pick up another multi-class. So if we can do our Dazzling Breath on every bonus action, and we can also use bonus actions for our Monk Flurry of Blows, that means that we'll have to choose between them, and I do not like having to choose. So we're immediately going to start multiclassing into the Rogue class, electing for 3 levels of Rogue, going for the Thief Rogue, so that we can get ourselves a second bonus action, basically allowing us to choose both. We'll also get to choose 1 more skill proficiency and 2 expertise skills, so I'm going to take skill proficiency and expertise in persuasion for better dialogue options, and also expertise in perception. If you wanted to go for something else like the acrobatics, or stealth and sleight of hand, or insight, it's definitely up to you, but I like having persuasion and perception because they're really fantastic for dialogue and out of combat utility. At character level 5, we're going to get our second level of the Rogue class for our Cunning actions, giving us another option for our bonus actions, allowing us to dash, hide, or disengage with our bonus action. Nothing else really here to write home about, so let's go ahead and move on up to the next level. At character level 6, we're going to grab our third and final level of the Rogue class, electing to choose the Thief subclass. Like I mentioned before, this will give us a free bonus action, allowing us to dish out tons of damage every single turn. At character level 7, we're going to go back over to the Month class so that we can take our second level and get access to our Step of the Wind abilities. Patient Defense, Step of the Wind Dash, and Step of the Wind Disengage. They're a little bit similar to our Cunning actions, but they use key points, while Patient Defense will allow us to impose disadvantage on attack rolls against us, and will have advantage on dexterity saving throws until the start of our next turn. At character level 8, we're going to be choosing our Monk subclass with our third level of Monk. For this, I'm going to be going with a subclass provided to us from the 5e Monk Subclasses Combined mod by some Redagnoth. This mod adds all of the different Monk subclasses that are available in 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons, and the one that we're going to be choosing right here is the Way of the Sun Soul. If you don't want to use this, I think you could get pretty much the same benefit out of the Open Hand Monk, but I definitely like the Way of the Sun Soul for thematic flavor and also a few abilities that we're going to be getting. First off, we're going to get Radiant Sunbolt, which hurls a Searing Bolt of Magical Radiance for 1d4 plus 3 radiant damage. And if we've done that, then we can use Radiant Sunbolt bonus attack to do it again on our bonus action for the cost of 1 key point. This ability isn't insanely powerful right now, but it's useful since we can do it at range if we need to, for whatever reason. At character level 9, we get our 4th level of Monk, where we get the Slow Fall ability, and also a new feat. Slow Fall is going to allow us to use a reaction to gain resistance to falling damage if we happen to be falling off of a high cliff area, which is not super common, but is definitely useful if we happen to be getting pushed off of something. For our feat, I'm going to go with an ability score improvement so that we can take 2 points in dexterity to increase our unarmed attack strength, our initiative, and also our armor class. At character level 10, we're going to be taking our 5th level of Monk for extra attack as well as stunning strike. Extra attack will also apply to our Radiant Sunbolts, so now we can do upwards of 4 with a single turn if we use 2 on our action and 2 with our bonus action. This does leave us with a second bonus action because we are a Thief Rogue that we can choose to do basically anything else with. At character level 11, we're taking our 6th and final level of the Monk class for our key empowered strikes, which makes our unarmed attacks magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunities. We're also going to learn Searing Arc Strike, which allows us to spend key points to cast the Burning Hand spell, basically, for 3d6 fire damage or more if we choose to upcast it for more key points. This is pretty cool and a really nice flavor ability, but it's one that I don't use very often because we have our Dazzling Breath, which is really cool and much more thematic for us. At character level 12, we're going to go back over to the Druid class, where we're spending the rest of our levels getting even stronger as a spellcaster. For Druid level 3, we just get access to 2nd level spell slots, which is nice so that we can get access to the Moonbeam spell, and Enhance ability, which is a really fantastic utility option. Because we've spent some time away from the Druid class, our prepared spells have been reset, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to the spells that we want, which is Longstrider, and then for our 2 2nd level spells, I'm going to do Enhance Ability and Moonbeam. At character level 13, we're getting Druid level 4 for a new feat and also a new cantrip. For our cantrip, I'm going to go with Resistance just for fun. You can do whatever you want here, basically. Any of these cantrips is great for us, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Resistance. And for our character's feat, I'm going with an ability score improvement to get our Wisdom up to an 18, as well for our spells and our unarmored defense. At character level 14, we get Druid at level 5 for some 3rd level spells and more Star Map Guiding Bolt charges, which is really fantastic. Generally speaking, for our 3rd level spells, I like to go with Daylight and also Call Lightning. Call Lightning just does really good damage, and Daylight can replace the Light cantrip so that we have a more powerful version to imbue our bow with for the gear that we're going to be wearing. At character level 15, we get our 6th level of Druid for our Cosmic Omen ability. These work similarly to Bardic Inspiration and also Cutting Words, giving us the Wheel or Woe dice, allowing us to either increase or decrease allies and enemies' attack rolls or saving throws and ability checks for our allies, which is a really fantastic utility, just giving us some more control over the dice rolls that will happen in our games. At character level 16, we get our 7th level of Druid for 4th level spell slots. The main thing that I really want from these spells is Freedom of Movement as a really fantastic buff spell. Otherwise, we can upcast our other spells to here if we want to. There's some really fantastic options in here if you wanted to go with them, but there's nothing really that fits super thematically with our build, except for maybe Wall of Fire, but we have other options for our concentration spells that are really fantastic. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm going to take Wall of Fire just because it's really awesome. At character level 17, we get our 7th level of the Druid class for our final feat, and I'm just going to be taking an ability score improvement for 2 more points into Wisdom to bring us up to an even score of 20. At character level 18, we get access to 5th level spell slots and another Cosmic Omen charge. For our 5th level spells, I'm going to stick primarily to support spells like Greater Restoration and Mass Cure Wounds. I'm also going to go ahead and take Polymorph just because we have an extra slot. You can go with virtually whatever you want here. At character level 19, we get our 10th level of the Druid class for a new cantrip and also the improved Starry Forms. Our Dragon form now has the ability to hover and fly, which is absolutely insane for us and gives us a ton of more movement utility. For our cantrip, I'm going to be taking Thorn Whip just because it's a great spell, might as well grab it. And finally, at character level 20, we get our 11th level of the Druid class for access to 6th level spells. And this is where our build is going to become Starlight Incarnate. We're going to be choosing the Sunbeam spell, which does 6d8 radiant damage in a straight line, is concentration, and blinds our enemies. Similar to the Call Lightning spell, we can activate it on subsequent turns, and then we can use our 2 bonus actions to do Dazzling Breath and Flurry of Blows, or use Cunning Action / Step of the Wind to get ourselves out of danger. Our Dragon form is going to help us maintain concentration on the spell too, which is absolutely fantastic, meaning that we're going to be able to do this much more often. I'm also going to take Hero's Feast just because I can, and it's one of the best buff spells in the game. That's pretty much all for the leveling of this character, so let's take a moment to go over the gear and equipment that makes this character absolutely shine. So, with our character, there's a few things that we're going to want to focus on when it comes to the items for our build. For our hat, I have the Mask of Soul Perception equipped, which gives us a +2 bonus to our attack rolls, initiative rolls, and perception checks, which is really fantastic as a nice buff and bonus to our attack rolls. And we also get 1 free use of the Detect Thoughts spell once per day, which is really awesome. We're going to get the Cloak of the Weave, which gives us a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, which is going to help us with our druid spells such as Guiding Bolt and Moonbeam. Additionally, I'm using the Shattered Sun vest, which gives us improved unarmored defense. Your unarmored defense is improved, granting you an additional +1 to your armor class. True Sight of the Sun, your melee attacks have a chance to apply Shattered Sunlight on the target. And Keymaster, you gain additional use of a key point. Once used, it is restored upon taking a long rest. This piece of armor is available through the Unarmed and Upgraded Monk Equipment mod from the Fades Equipment Distribution Pack created by Graphic Fade. This one is really fantastic. It's available in Act 2, but it's one that I think really matches the vibe of our character, giving the Shattered Sun sort of starlight vibe to it. The Shattered Sunlight ability is really cool. It Shattered Sunlight sears the target, dealing 1d4 fire damage and 1d4 radiant damage, and any darkness within a 9-meter radius of the target is dispelled. This is really fantastic, and just is going to really mesh well with the starlight vibe of our class. If you don't have this mod installed or don't want to for whatever reason, a fantastic replacement would be the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation, which is part of the vanilla game. Whenever the wearer succeeds on a saving throw against a spell, they regain 1d4 hit points, and you get greater Kushigo counter, allowing you to use a reaction to make an unarmed strike against any attack that misses, and you'll get another +2 bonus to your armor class, which is technically better than the Shattered Sun Vest, but by 1, so it's not a huge deal. For our gloves, I have the Luminous gloves equipped. When the wearer deals radiant damage, the target receives 2 turns of Radiating Orb. Pretty much all of our attacks are going to be dealing radiant damage, so we're going to be dishing out lots and lots of Radiating Orb stacks. Radiating Orb is one of my favorite debuffs in the game, making it so that our affected entity has a -1 penalty to attack rolls for each remaining turn. It also sheds bright light in an area surrounding it, reducing the duration by 2 each time the entity makes an attack. This is really awesome because we can stack up 5, 6, 7, 8 stacks of Radiating Orb on an enemy, making it so they're much less likely to hit us with any of their attack rolls. I've also equipped the Boots of Uninhibited Kushigo. The wearer deals additional damage equal to their Wisdom modifier with unarmed strikes. Because our Wisdom modifier is a +5, we're going to get a +5 damage bonus to each of our unarmed attacks. We don't have any main hand weapon equipped because we're going to be dealing primarily unarmed attacks, but if you wanted to wield something like a staff, you could use the Staff of Striking from the Unarmed and Upgraded Monk Equipment mod from Fade's Equipment Distribution, or any of the base game staves. Ultimately, I've decided to go with none, just so we have the ability to do unarmed strikes. For our jewelry, I have the Pearl of Coral Throne, which is also available through the Unarmed and Upgraded Monk Equipment mod from Graphic Fade's Equipment Distribution mod. This will give us a +2 bonus to melee spell attack rolls and spell save DC, and gives us the Key Restoration passive. This is basically the Amulet of the Devout, but instead of being applicable to clerics, it's made specifically for monks, which is really fantastic because it gives us the Key Restoration passive, which is otherwise only available through the Sentient Amulet, which you can get in Act 2 and then upgrade when you get to Act 3. For our rings, I have the Coruscation Ring. When the wearer deals spell damage while illuminated by a light source, they also inflict Radiating Orb upon the target for 2 turns. This ring is why we're going to illuminate our bow with the Daylight spell, which is going to make it so that we're always illuminated by a light source, so we're always going to be adding Radiating Orb in addition to the radiant damage that we're going to be providing through the Luminous Gloves. Additionally, the Callous Glow Ring will deal an additional 2 radiant damage against creatures that are illuminated, so if they're standing near us, they're going to take even more radiant damage, triggering the Luminous Gloves. Really awesome. Just going to make sure that we're dealing lots and lots of Radiating Orbs. For our bow, I have the Gaunter Mail equipped. Obviously, you don't get this until very late in the game, but I've decided to equip it here. You can attach basically any bow that you want to. I've decided to go with this one, and then attach attach the light spell or the daylight spell to it so that we can have that nice kind of glowing bonus to it, which will affect our items. Otherwise, this weapon also does shine with a glowing light in a radius of 6 meters on its own, and on a hit possibly inflicts guiding bolt upon the target. We're not often going to get use out of that, but we do have the celestial haste bonus, which is really nice. That's pretty much all for the gear and everything for this character, so let's go ahead and see what this character can really do in combat scenarios. So I've got my character here with another one of my builds that I'm currently working on, which is another patch 8 build, just so that we have another character here so that we're not the only one getting attacked by all of these enemies that we're about to face off against. The first thing that I'm going to do is wild shape into our starry form dragon. And now we are shining and twinkling with the power of the sun. This also just has a really cool look to it, which I think really makes our character shine like a star. Now let's go ahead and do a long strider. That's pretty much all for our buffs, so let's go ahead and just get some combat started. To do so, I'm going to Sunbeam right through here, hit 3 guys. Boom, they're blinded, lots and lots of radiant damage. They've also got some really great radiating orbs. We've got 4 stacks on them, 4 stacks on them, and 4 stacks on them. So now let's just stand here. I don't need this guy to really do anything besides be a body, so let's go ahead and hang out. We've got 2 bonus actions, and what are we going to do with them? We're going to open this up, go to our Druid, and grab our Dazzling Breath. Now we're going to come right over here, use Dazzling Breath. We're going to try to get the angle right so we can do it to everybody. There we go. Boom! Even more radiant damage. 6 radiating orbs, 6 radiating orbs, and 6 radiating orbs. But we still have another bonus action, so let's go ahead and Flurry of Blows. I'm going to do it to this guy. And she's dead. That was a critical hit. That's a lot of damage. 12, 17, 2... Damn, okay. Let's end our turn. You don't need to do anything. Let's go ahead and shield, and also Cosmic Omen Wheel. Try all you want, bud. I am Starlight Incarnate. Yeah, keep it going. Damn, you guys are only attacking him. That's rude. Well, they got themselves all set up perfectly in a line, so that means we can recast our Sunbeam and hit all 4 of the enemies. Let's go ahead and do it. They're all blinded. These 2 guys just died. Let's run on over and hit them with a Dazzling Breath. That's a lot of damage. And now we can also Flurry of Blows on this guy. Shaboom! End our turn. And you don't have to do anything. Just sit there and look pretty. And you don't have to do anything either. Let's Cosmic Omen. It's your birthday. You deserve it. How dare you? Don't do anything. You don't really need to do much.
Another fight. Let's go.
But that means that we can go ahead and do something fun. Specifically, we can recast Sunbeam. But first, I'm going to go right here so that we can do this. This guy's dead. This guy took some Sunbeam damage. So now we can go ahead and slide over here. And what else are we going to do? We've got our bonus actions. Let's Dazzling Breath. He saved on it. That's all right. We can still Flurry of Blows. And he's dead. Look at that. Let's go ahead and end our turn. You don't need to do anything. All right, it is our turn again, and our companion is down. I don't really care, because we're going to go ahead over here and absolutely punish our enemies. So what are we going to do? Let's see. I'm going to Starlight Step, just because it's really awesome. Right here. Beautiful. Starlight Step complete. And now we can recast our Sunbeam. We still got a bonus action, so let's do this. And just like that, he's dead, combat's over, and we are victorious. We are Starlight Incarnate. And that's the build, y'all. Druid, Monk, and Rogue all working together in perfect cosmic harmony to absolutely dunk on anyone who just happens to look at you funny. You've got radiant lasers, glowing fists, and double bonus actions, and a whole lot of style. It's smooth, it's spicy, and it shines like the damn sun. If you end up trying it out, let me know how it goes in the comments, or if you find a tweak that makes it even juicier. I absolutely want to hear it. Don't forget to hit that like button if you had a good time, subscribe for more builds and chaos, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!